Gentlemen, today on The Unspoken, we are talking about the 2006 comedy drama starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, $35 million in their budget, 326 million at the box office. The long awaited review of The Devil Wears Prada. And actually, this might be one of the most decorated films we've reviewed. Uh, an Oscar nomination, two Academy nominations, two Academy nominations, three Golden Globes, five BAFTA awards, three MTV awards, and a Screen Actors Guild. All these are just nominations. I didn't get the actual winners. Um, but this is in rare class when you're pulling these kind of nominations for awards. And the journey is really just about Anne Hathaway's character. What's her name again?
Andy.
It depends on what position you want
I'm
to be in.
joking because obviously Meryl Streep butchers her name the whole movie, but it's really about Anne Hathaway's character going through this employment journey with an abusive boss. Really, that's what I took, and in the fashion world and trying to be a part of that. And that's what I. Okay, go ahead, Mon. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it's an abusive job or, abusive boss or a boss who's trying to pull the best out of you. Because I could see it as a boss that's trying to pull the best out of you and trying to get you ready because the world that they're in is a cutthroat world. So I'm trying to make sure you're ready to be successful in this world.
My wife tells me that this is not an abusive boss. It's an abusive industry. That's what my wife tells me.
I would agree with that.
I seen this movie as a coming of age story about Andy, because the whole situation for me was, I think unbeknownst to her, everyone was trying to figure out where does she fit.
Yep.
From her boyfriend to her friends to this industry, everyone was trying to figure out, is she strong enough to do this job? Most of them felt like she wasn't. They all felt like, this ain't the place for you. You're too nice of a person. You're too smart. You're too fat. You're too everything about this is something that you cannot accomplish.
You are wrong in all of this. But let me say this. This is why I think she picked her. Because I look at Meryl Streep's character as one of those characters who has a keen eye. She's been on top of the game for a reason. And now, if you look at Andy's character, she looks out of place. There's no reason why she should have been hired. Look at the way she was dressing in the beginning and how she even said fashion doesn't really matter. There's no reason she should have been hired. But yet, Meryl Streep hired her. Why? Because I think Meryl Streep had that ability to have that eye to say, if I can break you and mold you, you'll be successful in this game.
It's hilarious. Go ahead, Mo.
Go ahead. Well, I would say I don't think
hilarious when in the opening of the film, the character played by Emily Blunt says, "Well, you have to have an interest in fashion," and she's like, well, "What makes you think that I don't?" And she just looked at her like, "Yeah,
exactly.
You're all right. Chuck, Miranda was a bit abusive. Like she definitely had a kind of an abusive personality. But Mo, you're also right in that it was more of she was trying to pull out from Andy what she saw. The only reason she hired Andy because she thought Andy was smart. She had already hired all these pretty girls and everything else that kind of looked the part of a copy of Emily in this film, but they just didn't have what it took to really do the job. And so that was the case. And then Maul, to your point, it was definitely a coming of age story for Andy, because her arc was she kind of went from this frumpy girl who wants to be a journalist, who gets kind of thrown into this industry that she has no business really being in. And then you see how she conforms to the industry, how she conforms to that environment, and becomes this whole different person that her friends don't recognize, her boyfriend doesn't recognize, and they all kind of like separate from what nothing to do with her before coming back to realizing like who she wants to be at the end, which is kind of really a combination of who she was to start off with and who she became. But that was. But I think all of you hit on correct points there.
Yeah,
you said who she became.
I think that you guys are giving Meryl Streep a little bit too much credit.
Oh, here we go. I'm about to give her more
too much credit for the fact that you actually thought that she was taking the time to actually see the character Andy as somebody she wants to mold and train. But there's no, you couldn't be more wrong on that. For me, I felt like the character from Meryl Streep, she's a sadist. Like she is into punishing you and hurting you if you don't do what she wants. And when Andy first came in for the interview, I feel like what she said is the thing that actually made Meryl want to hire her so that she could punish her. And what she said was this is, she said, "Why do you want to work here?" And she said, it was either this or Auto Universe. And keep in mind, multiple people said to her in this movie, hundreds of girls would kill to have this be the position that
that was the thing.
Somehow she managed to ignore multiple statements of that and still see this as a job that is beneath her.
Yeah.
So I feel like Meryl Streep seen that and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna punish you properly. Like you will be my little plaything throughout this whole time."
So you think it's that she saw it as a job beneath her? I don't know if I'm there.
Andy, the character Andy, absolutely 100% seen this as a job that was beneath her. She was just using this as a stepping stone. She couldn't even understand how this was a stepping stone to get to a better career that she actually wanted to go to. But because everyone kept saying 1 year with Meryl Streep, and you will be able to pick wherever you want to work in the editing world, like the whole industry. So she took it for that. But honestly, it was a toss-up between that and Auto Universe. So for me, it was like she didn't respect it at all. And when she comes to the interview, she's dressed like what? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
so that was the way she regularly dressed. I didn't judge.
But that's my point.
You're going into a fashion
Think
world.
about coming to a basketball court, right? Think about coming to a basketball court and you got on church shoes and a tuxedo, and you saying, "I want next," and everyone's looking at you. What? What do you mean you want next? Like, you look like you about to go to a wedding. You know what I mean? Like, you're not appropriate for the job. You know what I mean?
So The Devil Wears Prada. What I took away from this movie immediately, and part of me, because it's a tongue twister, what we're not going to do is size 6 shame. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that here, right? Like, they was airing her out for being a size 6. Like, I can't stand by and watch that happen.
But that goes to show you, Chuck, like how bad.
How cutthroat. Yeah, that world is real bad. It's real cutthroat.
It's to the point, and you guys know I did a little bit of model recruiting back in the day, and it was so bad that I would find this girl, I thought she'd be a great model, and I would take her to the designer, and the designer would have her put dress on, walk back and forth down this long hallway, and then we would leave. And I'll get a call from the designer, and he would say, like, "No, she can't do she can't wear my stuff. She's too curvy. She's too this. She's too that." And it's like, I was like, okay, okay. So they pick you apart in that industry. It's not for the weak of heart, honestly. That the whole modeling fashion industry.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get back to what Maul was saying earlier about Miranda picking on Andy, or the reason why she picked her. Miranda is not going to waste her time hiring somebody just so she could tear her down like that. It's not. She's too busy. She's too important.
Yeah.
And the person who Andy was actually based off of, from the book, worked for the real life Miranda, which was on Ann Winter at Vogue. She was the editor at Vogue, and so I remember hearing stories about this woman Ann Winter who she went to a fashion show, pulled out a flip phone, and then all of a sudden people are saying, "Are flip phones back in? Should we start making more flip phones?" Because this woman has so much pull in that industry. Someone with that much power. I mean, if someone that's that focused as Miranda was in this film on making the magazine the best, I don't see her picking this girl to tear her apart. I see her picking this girl because she wants to. Like she told Emily, was that, you know, I let you pick the last few and they were terrible. I'll pick this one, and
I will to Jamal's point. I will say this because I'm with you, Adrian. I agree with you 100%. But to Jamal's point, after she came into the house and seen the way Miranda's husband was treating her, I think after that she became vindictive. Like, I'm gonna get you. Like the point where she was like, "Yo, if you don't get my kids that book, Harry Potter book that haven't came out yet, haven't been published yet, don't even bother showing up." You know what I mean? So after that,
she's been punished. She's been punished since day one.
I don't agree. I think it was after that.
Go back. Okay,
I think it was venom in it.
Let's go before that, and let's go to the shoes. Day one.
Yeah.
Day one, first day of work.
Yeah.
Nigel walks up to her and hands her some shoes, and she's like, "Oh no, that's okay. Miranda knows me. You know, she knows I'm not about the fashion stuff." No, he says,
she knows what I look like.
Miranda sees me. Yeah, knows what I look like. He says, "Do you know what you look like?" But that's not it. But that's not it. She walks into the room after being called. Emily walks in, corrects Miranda with her name, and Miranda gives her a list of things to do. And on her way out, she looks at Emily and says, "Oh, by the way, Emily," and gives her the illest. I look through your soul stare as she directs herself down to her feet, and says that classic words, "That is all."
I look at that as a perfectionist in her field.
I look at that as, you are not supposed to be here, so stop acting like you are.
Yeah, Jamal's right. Jamal's right, yo. I agree.
He's partly right. What I gathered from that was, Miranda, Andy was kind of hiring herself. She's a college graduate. She wants to be a serious journalist and, like, you know, deal with journalism probably around the world with important topics. And she didn't show the proper respect for the industry
I agree with
that she was in at that point. Because the whole point with the when she giggled at the two belts, she said it was blue. That was a learning that was a learning opportunity for her there, because it was like, it broke it down to, you know, that this hideous sweater you have on that you got out some bargain bin somewhere. You thought you were butting against fashion in the fashion world when you picking it, but you didn't understand that, you know, Oscar de la Renta had this particular look in a dress 2002. And then you know, so and so these companies started remaking it, and you make fun of this, but this is an industry, because that little dress there generated millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs. But you think it's funny. Okay.
I think you boys are wrong. here. I think what we're doing here is we're confusing ignorance with disrespect. I think she was ignorant, right? She just needed to be taught. And I think Nigel gamed her up. When he gave her those new clothes, she was like, oh, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. I just think she was just ignorant towards what it was.
No,
I know, I agree with that.
We're not saying she was malicious. We're saying I agree with you. She was ignorant to the
She was
whole
ignorant.
industry. But she thought the industry was a game. She wasn't being malicious with it. She just didn't understand that
I disagree with that.
she didn't understand the industry.
I don't. She didn't understand the industry. I don't think she disrespected the industry. She just didn't understand it until Nigel started giving her a game. Then she was like, "All right, I can get it now." But for Jamal to say, "Oh, this was beneath her," I totally disagree. She just didn't understand.
Hold up. Let me break that down to you now. Let me break it down to you. Because she did disrespect the industry because she thought that it was all beneath her. Okay, that's first off. She thought it was all beneath her. She thought that she can walk into an industry that is shallow. Okay, it is all exterior, not interior. If you come into an industry that is exterior and you're coming with your I did my report or whatever, my essay or something on the workers' unions of such and such, heartfelt, meaningful stories of like these life-changing events going on in the world. And it's like, great, but you don't know who Oscar De La Renta is. You don't know who I am. You don't know what we did. But yet you're trying to get a job here that says you can help me. Now, you just showed that you have the ability to do the research diligently. But yet, for this job that you're trying to get right now, you did no research for? Nothing? You don't even know who you're working for?
So
That's a good point.
Or disrespect. I think, is that ignorance or disrespect? And to me, it's ignorance.
No. That's disrespect.
Jamal, you gotta
because
Jamal, you gotta
I don't need to know.
It was a bit.